Welcome to Random Vets and Real Stories. Today's guest is Petty Officer Tim Johnson. How
Hey
you doing,
Tim,
buddy?
pretty good. How you doing, brother?
Good. All right, I introduced you as a petty officer. What was your rate in the Navy?
I was originally AMH, Aviation Structural Mechanic Hydraulics, but then after working the flight deck and after the first cruise, I cross-rated to AK, Aviation Storekeeper, and got out of the second class.
Okay. All right. Where are you originally from?
Little town in Missouri called Crocker. There's less than 1,000 people in it, not even a stoplight,
Wow.
small.
Yep. All right. Describe your childhood. What was your childhood like?
Um, it was different. Had pretty mean dad, but which is why I focused on going in the military is to get away. But had two great brothers and mother which was fantastic. So I had a pretty good childhood still.
Okay. You briefly touched on your dad there. Describe your parents.
Dad was he was a son of an army vet, 20 plus years retired, and he just just he was a tough one. Um, but he was there, so a lot of guys didn't have that. So at least I had that. But my mom, she was fantastic and loving. Her everything to her was all about her family. So her kids were number one all the way till when she passed away. Um, so she was a good woman.
Yep. All right. Um, you mentioned that your briefly that your grandfather was an army guy. Uh, was he who influenced you to come into the military, or was there someone else?
I'd say both of them. Both my grandfathers were retired Army. One was retired Staff Sergeant, and the other was retired Master Sergeant. Um, Both were in World War II in Korea, and so I grew up right outside of Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and so that also kind of drove me. And seeing war movies and seeing the GI Joe stuff when we were kids and all that kind of influence had me by the time I was 13 years old thinking military was the only place that was going to be what I needed to get out of my town. Um, and started a completely different life of stuff that you wouldn't be able to do anywhere else.
Oh yeah, I'm from a small town, kind of like where you're from, and um, I would have not got seen half of the or a quarter of the things that
No,
are that I've got to see. Okay, what year did you enter service?
83. And then I was on delayed entry for 10 and a half months.
Okay. Uh, what job or jobs did you perform while you were in the military?
Oh, started off with after getting off a temporary assigned duty. After getting off of that, it was right to the line in Virginia Beach. Can't remember what hangar that was. I don't know if you
Uh,
remember.
yeah, I don't remember. I think 200 was the last one I
That's what I'm
remember
thinking
being.
too. 200 was
Okay.
the last one.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, so started off at the line and was on the line for, I don't know, 3 or 4 months before we deployed, I think. That's where I met you.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
think we,
TJ and I we crossed paths at VF 32.
yeah, I think that was our first assigned true job other than TAD or something like that.
Yep. All right. What did you do after you left the line check?
I went to work in supply, which is pretty cool. Um, and did that until I left in August of '87.
Okay, once you left VF-32 in '87, where'd you go?
I went up to Brunswick, Maine, VP Squadron, TAR, training in administrative. What is it? Training and administration of reserves.
Training active reserves or something like that, I think.
Yeah, basically that's what it is anyway.
Right.
Training the reservists, and did that for another 4 years until I got medically discharged. I did. I expedited material for them. They had P3 Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie. So they had an old Alpha that nobody had parts for. So I was getting them parts out of the desert at Davis Monthan Air Force Base, and getting them to pull them off of there where nobody else could get them. But I enjoyed that for quite a bit. It was completely different than fighter community though. Just a different world altogether. It was hard for me to kind of get used to. I didn't like the fighter community all that much necessarily. I mean, it was hard work um, compared to P3s. It was laid back, and I just wasn't used to that laid back aspect of it. Always doing something. I had to be.
Right. Yeah, I think probably the fighter community is probably one of the most intense tours in the Navy. My other tours were kind of more laid back, I will
Yeah,
say. All right, how many years did you serve?
8.
8 years?
Yeah, 8 years.
Okay. All right. So you've touched on this, but your duties, what were your duty stations?
VF-32 at NAS Oceana and VPMAU Master Augment Unit and NAS Brunswick, Maine.
Okay. Describe each of your commands.
Each one. VF-32, it was the shit. It was good. We got very lucky the first time out the door, picking up a fighter squadron and picking up VF-32. I don't think I could have got any lucky going to any other squadron. I don't think I'd been as happy with. And when I cross rated, I could have went back to A school and picked another A school, but I didn't want to leave VF-32. I was getting back to the 32 again. We were pretty slim, so I was like, no, I'll just cross rate over into AK and I'll stay in the squadron. And which I did, and very much enjoyed it.
Okay. So what was the VP? I know you mentioned the VP community was laid back, but
Wow.
what was y'all's schedule like? Did y'all have flights every day or what was that like?
Yeah, usually there's something going up every day, but not necessarily either, especially with the snow. But the snow was a big factor. Playing Navy in the snow is no fun. Um, Especially working the line or something like that. It's crazy. But it was laid back. It was more peaceful. There was nobody like Master Chief Holbert sitting in mains control or screaming on the bitch box. For airframes to get their asses in the gear. You didn't have that. It was all nice and peaceful, and they knew what they had. So, um, but long lunches, liquid lunches, you know, um, and I'm like, man, you got to be. I can't do this every day, you know,
Right.
and it wasn't like that all the time, but it was like that a lot. But it was still fun.
Okay. But between the two, which one stands out?
Oh, VS-32.
Okay.
And I would do VS-32 again if I had a chance now. There's no question.
Yeah, it's kind of been the sentiment of everybody I've talked to that we kind of grew up together. We're all
Yeah, we
young.
did. Very much
Yep.
so. All at the same time, same place, and same
Yep.
experiences, um, and we're all about the same age and seeing the same things, a little or nothing, from small towns all over the place, and then getting out
Or,
right on the big ship and hitting Liberty ports and hanging out, and yeah, it was all different ball game at that stage.
yep. I remember one night, I think it was, yeah, me and you were on the flight deck one night in heavy seas
Oh
and
yeah,
took a wave over the flight deck.
yep, I remember that well. You could hear all the chains just as stretching. We had to
Yep.
tie it down for heavy seas, and you could just hear them just a stretching.
Yep.
That was no fun.
All right. So, what was the favorite place that you visited?
I'd have to say Benidorm, Spain was my favorite, I think. I loved Israel too, but Benidorm was really cool. I would go back there.
Yeah, I enjoyed Benidorm. If I chose to go back to Spain now, I think I would try to go there.
Yeah,
I, Palma was fun, but Benidorm it kind of stood out for me also.
yeah, there was a lot more uh, people that wintered there from Britain and around Europe. So there was a lot of English speaking people there, which helped a lot.
Didn't that town have the different section, like a English section and a German section? And
Yes, which made
okay,
it you're hitting all kinds of different people, and that's what was so neat about
right. All right.
it.
When you were in service, did you marry and have kids?
No, we didn't have any kids, but did get married. Been married for 41 years now. Oh, geez, 40, yeah, 41. Almost getting ready to be 42.
Yeah, we just had our 40th. So, um, yeah, it's
Congratulations.
yep, congratulations to you. You know, it's kind of unique. You were married while you were in service when we were in Vera of 32, and I was married. So we had to be a little bit more responsible
Oh, yeah.
instead of living in the barracks.
Yeah. The barracks life wouldn't have lasted too long being married,
Right,
playing around like we did with drinking and just being goofy.
right. All right. So after you left the service, where have you lived?
Oh, geez. Left and went up to Maine, got out in Maine, and worked there for a while, and then transferred down to Pascagoula, Mississippi, and spent another 5 years there working at supervisor shipbuilding and for NAFC. And then now up and went back up to Maine, and then from there back in Canada or in Canada. So I live in Prince Edward Island, Canada now.
And it isn't Tracy, your wife, from Canada, that
Yeah,
area?
this is her home. So we spent 20 plus years down in the States and figured it's time to come up here.
Yeah, it's a
That was
beautiful place.
25 years ago.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place up there. I've never been there, but I see some of the pictures that you guys post, and it's awesome.
Come on up anytime, brother.
All right, next
Hey,
question. Do you keep in contact with your military buddies?
lots of them every day, pretty much.
Yeah, I was telling several people I talked to that Facebook has probably been the greatest thing for us military guys to be able to stay in contact with our buddies.
Absolutely. Be able to keep in touch with the common everyday stuff, and then big time serious stuff, you're right there with them. So it's a very helpful thing.
All right. What advice would you give young people today regarding military service or life in general?
Man, that's a tough one. Um, for me, it was a military was an escape and a purpose to join something bigger and better than me, and to be able to play with toys and equipment and guns and jets and ships and you name it, uh, support equipment. Um, that you'd never be able to touch or even get close to, and you're in charge of it. So for me, that was my escape and my purpose, and pointed me in my direction. Everybody's got a different direction. Definitely not for everybody. Um, I know me. I'm surprised that I even made it through. Um, just with my attitude that I had as a teenager, thinking I knew everything and I didn't know nothing. Which you find out right quick when you enlist. But I guess the main thing is just do what your heart desires, but find a purpose. Um, I don't know if military is what it used to be or not, but I think it is a positive place. It'll teach you a lot, that's for sure, and keep you safe for the most part anyway. Unless you're depending on what you pick, but that's about all I can say on that.
Yeah, I don't recall what the what the price tag was on a Tomcat was when you and I were
I think it
serving
was 40
together.
million.
Okay, so we were 18, 19 years old, and we were responsible for a $40 million jet.
Yeah,
Yep, two country boys from the South.
that
Just,
would be working at the convenience store or Tiny Giant or something.
yep.
Otherwise,
Do you have any other family that's currently serving?
right now, I don't think any is. A lot of my cousins, my nephew, he also served in the Navy. Everybody else is Army. I'm an Army family, so everybody on the other side of the Brown side of the family, my mom's side, they all were Fort Bragg people. And that's how my parents met. Was both their dads were Army, so they were at the same Army base at the same time, and they met and got married. But but no, none right now. We're in that gap.
Yeah, you mentioned your grandfather. I know you've shared some stuff in the past. He had a pretty unique uh, career in the Army in World War II. I know there's some like pretty famous photos he's in that
Yeah,
you've
there's
shared.
two photos that he made it in, crossing the Rhine River, and uh, in one of the first boats to cross the Rhine River, he was in and well photographed. And then his unit found the first concentration camp, Nazi concentration camp, Buchenwald, um, in World War II. And then he went on to Korea and fought in Heartbreak Ridge and Bloody Ridge, both big battles in Korea. And but he paid a heavy price for it. It messed him up once he got out because he was a infantry instructor, and he was at schools and universities and all this after when he wasn't in combat. So once he got done, there was nothing for him to step into, like to be equivalent to different things that you did in the military to the civilian uh, sector. But so yeah, it hit him hard. He had PTSD so bad it was just unbelievable. And he drank and he drank and he drank, but he finally got himself sober and never touched another drop again for a year or so. But it was a heavy price to pay for all the stuff that he witnessed and did, which is the price there is to pay.
Right. All right. So, um, the next question, and I might know this, but I might not. What's the most hilarious story you have while serving?
You probably know it. You were there. That was we had an engine change going on, and so we had all the parts ordered, and we were just waiting in a lull between the chaos of everything coming back in. So had some dead time. So I was taking. We were in the hangar. I think it was 200 that had cages all around. There was no ceiling. There was a roof of the hangar, but there was no ceiling over your head. Um, and I was taking long rubber bands and paper clips, big paper clips, and shooting them against the other wall on the side of the hangar bay, just for something to do. And yeah, I was sitting there doing that for a few minutes, and a what was it? AZ1 Brian Tyranny was there, sitting there. I was like, "Hey, Brian, watch this!" And I pulled that thing back as hard as I could, and let her loose. And when I did, man, it felt like my finger got shot off. I was like, "What in the heck was that?" And shook my finger. And when I did, it left a blood trail on the floor. I was like, "What in the world?" I looked, and that paperclip had bent when I was torquing her back, and it hit me right in the side of the finger in the joint, and went straight through the finger. And I didn't know what to do. I was like, I screwed up. I can't pull it out. And Brian saw it and he grabbed my hand and said, "Look at this, everybody." And showed everybody, showed Master Chief Reynolds. And he's like, "What the F did you do?" And told him just horse it around. And then you came by with your toolbox. I said, "Man, open that toolbox up. I need your pliers and you need to pull this out of me." And when I did, held that up, you looked at it, I looked at you, you were all white in the face, looking pale. And I
Yeah,
think I pulled it out if I remember correctly.
yeah, you asked me to pull it out, and I like was holding onto your finger and grabbed the pliers and grabbed the paper clip, and immediately I felt sick because I felt the pressure that was going to take to pull that paper clip out,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I can't do it. And so I handed it to you, and you actually pulled it out.
Yeah. That was it. Never too bright. Nobody ever said that. Mm.
Yeah, I think about that a lot, man. That was it was funny, but it wasn't. I
Oh,
know
it
it
was
hurt.
funny. Yeah, it wasn't funny with the paperclip stuck in there, but yeah, it was still funny.
Yep. All right. I'm gonna give you the floor. Anything that you want to share about military, uh, life, or just anything, I'm gonna give you the floor, and you can say whatever you want.
Well, to be honest, I don't have much to say normally, um, even though I talk a lot. But no, it's been a great ride. Um, Military was the best thing I've ever done. Um, Stayed working around the military even after I got out. Working at two different shipyards up at Bath Iron Works in Bath, Maine, and Pascagoula, Ingalls Shipbuilding down there. And so I was still around the military all the time, and active duty individuals. And then Facebook came along, and then I was hooked back up with all my veteran friends, and it's made it to where I didn't go through any kind of withdrawals of missing uh, and trying to get used to being back in society or anything, just because I had it all still right there. But it's been fun. It's been educational. You got to see a lot of things and do a lot of things and meet a lot of people, and it's been great. I'd do it all again in a second. Wish we could.
Yeah, you mentioned that you were hurt while you were serving. Do you want to share anything about that, or?
Well, I took a tumble on the flight deck, which was no big deal. We all took tumbles on the flight deck. But I hit stop when I hit the main mount. It was on a parked aircraft. It was no big deal. I bounced and I went back to work. That's what we did. And unless I was ever thought about it again. But then when I transferred up to Maine, we did a self move and moved all the stuff into our apartment. And immediately my back just went out and I couldn't stand up straight, couldn't walk, didn't know what was going on. And wound up going to medical, and they x-rayed me and found three of my lower vertebrae had been fractured, and asked if they took x-rays, and I said no, and they said, well, it's within the last year. And I said, well, that's probably what it was from then. So but yeah, so I kept that up until for 3.5 years working at VP Mao, and got sent down to see a specialist one day, and thought they were going to do surgery on it, and they came up and said, we're going to medically discharge you. So I was like, wow, that sucks. I was I was up for first class, and was up for orders in a few months too, so I was looking to continue. So it put a damper in things, but it was what it was. Nothing I could do about it.
Right.
Life goes on.
Oh yeah. All right. I got one more question. And I think you've already answered it, but I'm going to ask it. Would you do it again?
In a second. In a second. If they had a gray hair Navy, I'd probably join it too. I could
Yep.
chow on her.
Yep. Um, I think that's the sentiment of most guys. Definitely all the VF-32 guys that I have interviewed. Um, those are some hard days at work.
Big
Um,
time. But loved
but
every bit
every
of it.
oh yeah, it helped us all. I think later in life,
Yeah,
just you know, in the civilian world, people think they have it bad, and they don't really understand what bad is.
exactly. Yeah. And
As
I'm
far as
thinking of some
work.
bad stuff too. Yeah.
Yep.
That was very difficult. Just working in the galley alone was difficult.
Oh yeah. Yep. The temporary assigned duties that they sent us to weren't always easy.
No.
I think I think I when I got to Oceana, I had to go to the chow hall at 3:30 in the morning or 4:30 in the morning, and I think I worked till past lunch. But I wasn't a early riser kind of person, and
No.
not that early.
I did the
And
same tour too. I did TAD there as well. Best
yeah,
TAD I had was Chiefs Mess on the Indy, on
okay.
the Independence. I got Chiefs Mess there for 3 weeks. And oh, I ate so good. I've never been treated so good. The Chiefs were all cool down there. It was their own little world. So it was a surprise to see and nice to see.
You did the Independence and the Kennedy cruise?
Yep.
All right, I'm going to ask your opinion. Which one of those two ships did you enjoy the most?
I have to say the Kennedy. The Indy has more positive memories because it's all new. Everything was new to me. But she was just in so rough shape. Um, that's still tough to call that on which one was better. But I
Yeah, I
think I
think
enjoyed the the Indy was nice, but not as nice as the Kennedy was.
I think the Independence is always going to have a special place because it was the first cruise.
Yeah,
Um, the Kennedy was definitely a lot nicer. Um, and just the name of the ship is a very political um, name. So
very.
when we went to the Mediterranean, I, I, I don't think we were out to sea more than a couple of weeks at a time,
No,
max.
we had a
Sometimes we
lot of
were
liberty.
out, yep. Sometimes we were out and back in a port the next day.
Yep,
Um,
which I liked. That was good.
oh yeah, yeah. That was a fun cruise. But we got extended for Terry when they had Terry Waite or something kidnapped in Lebanon. We were getting
Yep,
ready to come home.
yep. I've forgotten all about that, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, because we were over at I had gotten off the ship first day in port in Barcelona, and we were getting ready to come back across the Atlantic and come home. And Shore Patrol was out in town, probably I think 10:30 in the morning, telling us to go back to the ship. And we're like, man, we just got off. And they're like, no, go back to the ship. We're leaving. And
Yeah, I remember that now. I think was that Malaga, Spain?
I thought it was Barcelona. It might have been Malaga.
I can't
Um,
remember. My memory's not the best at this stage in life. So
I know that I was on a Liberty boat. And for any civilians that are watching this, the carriers in all of our foreign ports, we never pull pier side. We are always
no,
anchored out in the bay because we were too big to go pier side. And so I was on the Liberty boat that day heading back to the ship, and we were talking saying, well, wonder what's up. And we launched an aircraft, a S-3, with the ship anchored in the bay.
huh?
And I was like, boys, something serious.
I
Because,
didn't remember that.
um, because when you're doing flight ops on a carrier, the carrier always turns into the wind and
Yep.
all that kind of stuff to get as much wind over the flight deck as possible when they're launching these planes. And when they launched that plane and the ship was anchored, I was like, something's up.
Yeah, no doubt. That's a first.
Did you see I think it was the Nimitz that was next to us when we left? Did you get to see them launching and recovering airplanes when we were headed to Lebanon?
No.
Yeah, I think it was the next morning or a couple days later. I got up one morning to go in and looked out, and the Nimitz was like, I don't know, 1,000 yards off our starboard side, and they were launching and recovering airplanes.
Huh?
And I was like, so that's what it looks like.
Yeah, it'd
Because
be neat to see a different perspective of it.
yep. But yeah, that was I think we did 7.5 months
Yeah.
before we got back there. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap this up, and I want to thank you for coming on. It's you're one of my top 10 folks that I wanted to interview, and
Well, good.
and
Glad
I
to
and
do it.
I yep, and I asked you, and you're kind of on the fence, and I was like, I respect it, but then you reached back out to me, and I'm glad we're doing this. Um, but I hope to get you back on at some point. The We may do a um, more deep dive into life in VF-32. Um,
Perfect.
I'll have to I'll have to figure out this podcast thing a little bit better, but I can add multiple people on
Oh,
these,
that'd be interesting.
so we can have a team discussion with
Yeah,
squadron mates, and I think that might be pretty good. So, but
that would be entertaining if nothing else.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep. But thanks again for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
All right, I want to thank everyone for watching. Remember, if you like our content, subscribe, share it with your friends. We'll see you on the next one.